My name's Keith Wapner. It is my great honor to introduce Roger Mann for this Legacy Pillar Award. Roger began his orthopedic residency in 1966 at University of San Francisco. After his residency, he spent a couple years in the Army, and then he went into private practice with Henry DeVries in Oakland, California. Many of you know that name. He worked both as a resident and in practice at the Gait Lab at Shriners Hospital with Vern Inman, and that's where he produced all the research that we grew up on, learning about gait analysis and the foot mechanics. He also later in his career served as a consultant at the Stedman Halkin Clinic. He was very intimately involved in the AOFAS early days, was on the board of directors from 1975 to 1987. He took over the editorship of the DeVries textbook of the foot in 1978 in the 4th edition, and that's continued. He was joined by Mike Coughlin in 1993 for the 6th edition, and in 99 for the 7th edition. And then for the 8th edition, he was joined by Charlie Saltzman, and for the 9th edition in 2014 by Bob Anderson. And Mike is continuing this with Andy Caskell. And for most of us, especially in my career, this was my Bible throughout my years of practice. I mean, this was my go-to textbook and gave me the guidance. He started a fellowship in 1979. You may recognize this handsome gentleman in the middle. It's Roger on one side and Henry DeVries on the other. And this is Mike Coughlin convinced him to let him become his first fellow. And Roger continued to have multiple fellows over the years. And he was president of AOS in 1982 to 83 after that. And then in 1994, we as his fellows got together and established the Roger Mann Award, which is still given in recognition for the most outstanding clinical paper that's presented at the AOFAS every year. He's published over 147 articles, multiple book chapters. He's written multiple books and monographs. He's spoken around the world. There's probably nobody here from an international country that hasn't heard Roger Mann speak at some point. The thing that got me most excited, I remember as a resident sitting down and reading this monograph that he wrote for the instructional course lectures on biomechanics of the foot. And all of us have seen these diagrams that are in that chapter. And I remember reading that and just being totally confused the first time, doing it the second time, and then the third time through, all of a sudden it clicked. And I realized, oh my God, this guy is so incredibly brilliant. I can't believe it. And I mentioned it to one of my mentors, Joe Torg, and he said, feet, perfect, they stink, they smell, you need to go do Roger Mann's fellowship. And I was blessed enough to actually have the experience of being one of Roger Mann's fellows, and it was probably the most influential 6 months of my entire career. Roger was really key in instituting the kickoff of the 3rd generation of total ankles. He was invited to England to talk on ankle fusions at an ankle replacement meeting, looked at the STAR, brought the STAR back to the United States, and started the resurgence, and then actually encouraged Mark Riley when Mark Riley started doing the inbone. I remember he sent Mark Riley to my office. I remember talking to him and said, yeah, Roger really told me I need to push this. So he's really revolutionized our field in so many ways through his influence. And I think what you learn as you go through your career is that you run into people that are orthopods, and occasionally you run into some people that are orthoplods. But once in a while and generationally, you run into those people that are truly the ortho gods. And to my mind, Roger represents that true, amazing ortho god. So.
Thank you very much. This is my last talk ever. Anyway, I'm very pleased to have accepted this award. I worked long and hard for it. Looking out in the audience, our first meeting that we had, which I think was in Santa Fe, we had all of 45 people attending. At that time, the Foot Society only had about 60 or 65 members. We ran the Foot Society out of my house. I was the secretary for 7 years. All the mailings we used to do at home. The kids would sit with me along the floor with all the envelopes we needed to stuff. We'd go around, stuff them, stamp them, and my dog would lick them, and we'd send them out. So we used to have a good time. But the important thing I want to bring out is you can't do this alone. You obviously had to have a lot of support along the way. I had a wonderful wife who unfortunately died 8 years ago. But she totally tolerated all of my running around and doing things. If you didn't have somebody supporting you like that, you could never do it. I mean, everything was always peaceful. The kids, she took care of all the kiddies, and it was just wonderful. But she's gone, and I'm still here, fortunately. The other thing is, as we go along, the people you work with is really what puts you up where you are. I mean, look at Mike Coughlin. I mean, he was a fellow. He was my first fellow. A good story. He phoned me up one day and said, I want to do your fellowship. I said, I don't have a fellowship. He said, well, you do now. He said, well, think about it. And I said, I'll get back to you. And I called him about 3 months later and said, okay, you're my first fellow. And that's how it started. Nothing planned, just worked out that way. I've had a chance to have, I think, 74 or so fellows. Delightful. It's really fun to work with them. And anyway, I didn't really prepare any talk for today. So anyway, I want to again thank the Society for what they've done for me. I've been delighted to work with them, and I hope the Society will just continue to flourish. Thank you.